After centuries of slavery, after plagues that shattered an empire, after a sea split open before their eyes, a nation stood at the edge of destiny.
Before them lay Canaan, the land promised by God.
Behind them,
Egypt,
chains,
bondage,
fear. Forward meant faith, backward meant safety.
and in that fragile moment, God spoke to Moses. Send men to explore the land. 12 men were chosen.
Leaders,
Warriors,
representatives of every tribe, not ordinary men, trusted men. Among them were two whose names would echo through history: Joshua steady and watchful, Caleb bold and unshaken. Their mission was simple: enter the unknown, study the land, measure the danger, and bring back the truth. They stepped into Canaan. For 40 days they walked through enemy territory, across scorching plains, through deep valleys, past cities carved into hillsides. They saw farmland richer than anything they had known in Egypt, rivers cutting through fertile soil, trees heavy with fruit, vineyards so full that one single cluster of grapes had to be carried on a pole between two men.
the land was not ordinary,
It was abundant,
overwhelming.
exactly as promised. But then the horizon shifted.
In the distance stood figures too tall, too broad, too powerful, warriors whose presence alone intimidated the heart.
Descendants of giants.
The spies watched carefully, measured silently,
Then they saw the cities,
walls rising like mountains, gates reinforced, watchtowers scanning every approach. This was not empty land waiting to be claimed. It was a fortress.
and somewhere between the vineyards and the walls, fear began to grow. At first, it was only a whisper.
We cannot defeat them. They are stronger. We are not ready. Fear is subtle in the beginning.
A thought, a question, a seed. But given time,
It grows. After 40 days, the spies returned to the camp of Israel.
families gathered, children stared.
Leaders waited. The men laid the fruit before the people, visible proof of abundance. Gasps spread through the crowd. Yes, they said, the land flows with milk and honey. Hope rose instantly.
But then came the word that changed everything. However, the people who live there are powerful. The cities are fortified and very large. We saw the descendants of giants.
The joy began to drain from the faces of the crowd.
And then came the confession that revealed the real problem. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes.
And we looked the same to them, grasshoppers, not warriors, not chosen, not conquerors, just small.
But one man refused to let fear take the microphone. Caleb stepped forward.
We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it.
For a moment, faith confronted fear, but the other spies pushed back harder.
We can't attack them.
They are stronger than we are. The land devours those living in it. Everyone we saw there is huge. Fear had now become exaggeration. Exaggeration became persuasion.
And persuasion became panic. That night, the camp was filled with weeping.
Voices rose in anger and despair.
Why did God bring us here to die? We should have stayed in Egypt. Let's go back, back,
To slavery. Back.
to chains,
Back.
to the place they once cried out to be delivered from.
The real battle was never about giants.
It was about belief.
10 spies saw obstacles.
2 spies saw opportunity.
10 spies saw walls.
2 spies saw a promise.
10 spies trusted what they saw.
2 spies trusted what God said.
Same land.
Same evidence, different conclusions, and the cost of that fear was staggering.
Instead of entering the promised land, the nation would wander in the wilderness for 40 years.
An entire generation would miss what was meant for them, not because the land was impossible,
But because they believed it was.
Listen carefully to their words again. We looked like grasshoppers in our own eyes before anyone defeated them physically.
They were defeated internally. Before any giant attacked them,
They surrendered in their minds. Joshua and Caleb never changed their report. They never withdrew their faith. Years later, they would be the only 2 from that generation to enter the promised land.
faith preserved them. Fear eliminated the rest.
Somewhere right now, someone stands at the edge of their own promised future. A dream.
An opportunity. A calling. A next level.
And on the other side, giants, intimidation, risk, uncertainty, fear. The giants may be real. The walls may be high.
But the deeper question remains. What do you see when you look at yourself? Do you see a grasshopper? Or do you see someone standing on a promise?
If you had stood there that day, whose voice would you have believed, the 10 or the 2? What opportunity have you walked away from because it looked too big? What blessing have you delayed because fear spoke louder than faith? Are you wandering in a wilderness today because of a decision shaped by doubt yesterday? Your promised land may be closer than you think,
But whether you enter it
depends on which report you choose to believe.